G'day. It is cold, wet and uncomfortable outside here in Imola today, but there's plenty going on at the track in preparation for this weekend's Grand Prix. Today's not the day to be outside, I promise you here. It's a rather ugly day, but I did have to go this morning to the track for my first COVID test of this race. Shit. That hurt! That's the worst one ever! Thank you. That was so deep down my nose. Anyway, I've got 5 days of no testing and then I've got to have one again. What are we today? Tuesday. It's got to be Sunday is my next test. It's an interesting paddock because it runs right along a river, and for us to get from one end of the paddock to the other, normally you just walk around and you'd still be inside the track, but I believe we have to go outside the track on this route that I'm heading here now, maybe by foot. If so, it's about a 15-minute walk, or probably in the shuttle bus. I was at the track yesterday and the day prior, and there are a lot of trucks, particularly along the start-finish straight, where they're parked up and transferring stuff from trucks into garages and out the back in the paddock. And it's a real hive of activity, albeit in the wet today. All the hospitality suites are pretty much the same as I remembered back in 2019. The Alpine suite, well, that's gone to black now. And I actually saw an Alpine car out in the car park, and I didn't realise that that was a brand of motor vehicle. I certainly didn't see any in Australia prior to me leaving. The Racing Point pink has disappeared, and that is now green for Aston Martin. AlphaTauri's suite's a compact affair, and Mercedes have bought a suite that I've seen a couple of times at the track. It's certainly not their large one, but still nice. And of course, they're not having any guests in there. It's pretty much only team. Just outside the paddock, I came across this amazing sight. I think there are 15 of these cranes, beautifully positioned, ready to be transported out to the track come Friday for the first practice session. They, to me, look like they're all brand new. I went and stood, in fact I squatted, in the spot where Lewis or Valtteri or Max will start the race from on Sunday. That's the number 1 box, and this is the angle that you see at about probably 90 centimetres above ground height, which is about the height that their heads sit. And as you can see, there's still some signage to go up there, and underneath they will hang a series of starting lights, visible from the driver's side and visible from the other side. And you think, why would you have the lights on the other side? Well, that's for television, so that long shot shows the 5 red lights going out and the cars taking off. This is where the podium takes place. As you can see, there's a bit of work to be done there, and I imagine by this afternoon that will be almost complete. See this hole here? There's one in every starting box, and they put a sensor in those holes that does sensing and sends information back to someone that uses it. I think it might be used for false starts, etc. Oh, and by the way, Australians, look what I found. Fonzies. We know these as twisties, but over here they're called Fonzies, and they're exactly the same thing. One thing that stood out to me doing this track walk was the fact that the grass on either side of the track can be quite long. Flowers here, mud in different places, and with this rain we've been having, that could be very interesting. If you get off the track and you've got mud and pools of water, could make for some spectacular viewing. You've probably seen on the broadcast this magnificent tower that's towards the end of the pit exit. What is it, 2, 4, 6 stories high? And I imagine that during a normal race they'd probably have corporates up there enjoying a spectacular view of the start and the finish, I guess, too. Although the finish, for some reason, is always a lot further back along the straight than what the start line is. So when they say it's a 58-lap race, it isn't. It's slightly less than that. You won't get a better travel tip than this. Go to the Co-op in Imola and get the tagliatelle al ragu. Stick it in the microwave for 3 minutes. It's as good as any restaurant pasta you'll ever eat, and for less than €6. The signage guys were busily erecting signs around the place. There were people high pressure cleaning the tarmac, getting rid of a lot of the crap off the track. All the curbs were painted in Italian red, green and white. Well, I should say it in the order it appears. What is it? Red, white and green. And some have added yellow too, with curbing going in, and on a couple of corners you think you wouldn't want to hit those at speed. They would unsettle your car, and of course that's why they're there. This is a view of Tamburello as the cars take it. It previously was a long sweeping left-hander, but they've since gone and put in the chicane to decrease the speed and make it a bit safer. And as to where I'll shoot the start from, I went and scoped a couple of positions. This is not a bad spot if you can discount the fact that there's a few things in the way, but they come straight towards you. Obviously there's a fence in the way and we're shooting through a hole in the wire. Ideally I'd like to be up a little bit higher, but that probably won't happen. But this track to me has a real local charm to it. A lot of the vistas either side are just green paddocks, and here you can see some accommodation at the end of this particular stretch of the track. You might have seen some of my son's videos on his YouTube channel, Tyler Illman. Well, he's been banging on about these NFTs for some time, so he and my office staff have finally got something in place. And are you ready? This is exciting. Your chance to own the world's first F1 NFT image collection. The collection contains 11 of my most popular images taken over the past 4 years. Never before have you been able to buy, sell or trade digital F1 art. But blockchain technology now makes that possible. You can be the sole owner of any or all of these pieces when they go to auction this week. For full details, see the description below. I wonder whether the drivers actually take note of the Ayrton Senna Memorial with all the flags. Obviously they're going at a fair clip, but you're very visible if you go and stand near it. And a couple of 100 metres on from that memorial, I found these two cabins just stuck on the side of the track. Obviously they'll be moved, but it got my attention. In my Senna video I put up 5 or so days ago, I just briefly mentioned the Roland Ratzenberger tribute on the grandstand that was visible from the outside of the track, but I found this on the inside of the track at the point where he collided with the wall, and I'll be interested to see if that remains up come race day. I can't see it being any drama for the drivers. It's unlikely to distract them. There are a few grandstands around the track, nothing terribly large, and certainly nothing with any corporate facilities in it, but I do like these stands, which are made just of wooden planks cut into the hillside. And I imagine on a busy race day with a whole lot of blokes mainly and flags and a couple of beers in them, this might be a fun place to watch the race. There'll be a track walk on Thursday and I was scoping some spots to shoot the drivers, and I like the idea of them coming over a crest. Here's one such crest, but I think this one here is my favourite because the hills are quite a way away and there's this lovely soft hue about the colours of the countryside behind the driver. So if the light's right and the rain stays away, I think this would be a good place to shoot them coming over the crest. Now this particular section of track intrigued me because on the right hand side here you can see a high fence, and then it's a quite steep bank going up to another fence. So there's no way you can get along that side of the track unless you're an agile animal perhaps, but there's no access. One spot I'll certainly be aiming to shoot at is here at Variante Alta. As you can see, there is nothing between you and the car, so you can shoot very low. And there aren't too many circuits that offer this opportunity. Certainly you can do it in Japan and in Monaco as you come out of the tunnel. And as the cars get to the end of the lap, this is what they see at the penultimate corner. They head straight towards this apartment block underneath a Rolex sign. And I imagine that's quite freaky to look at because it looks, for all intents and purposes, you're going to crash into an apartment building. And if you are the people that own those apartments or rent them, come this weekend, you're on a winner, huh? The top 2 floors get great views of the track. They don't have to leave their house. Okay, two things I'll bring up with you. Firstly, I've just got this message here from Shashwat from India, who rightly pointed out, having watched my driver's backpacks video, that Seb Vettel now has got a new backpack, so that video is now dated. As is often the case with things like wives and girlfriends videos, backpacks, F1 watches, etc. They date, sometimes very quickly. And the second thing was for those people who wanted to see the ceiling in this place, because it's fantastic, dates back to the 1800s. Here's the main living area, and this one is in the bedroom. Look, I do hope that some of you, or one of you at least, gets in and buys some of my NFTs. They go up for auction this week and they will be available on OpenSea. Bid early and bid well. You could end up owning some amazing pictures of mine that you can buy, sell or trade later and hopefully make a quid out of. My books, you'll find them at kimillman.com. You'll find my best pictures on Instagram at Kim Illman throughout the week, and this weekend coming up live, obviously from the track, is going to be great. And on Sunday I'll be doing a live stream at about, figuring 6 or 7 o'clock Italian time, so I hope you'll join me for that. In the meantime, thanks for watching, stay passionate. That one took way too long to do, and the sun needs to come out.